I was supposed to be beautiful.
Welcome to the Crazy Garage Dad Podcast, home of the weirdos and outcasts. If the truth is subjective, then this is my art class. Find a deeper meaning, welcome to today's mess. We weren't the first to connect the dots, and we won't be the last.
What's one conspiracy theory that has always bothered you?
Probably be Jekyll Island. Essentially, there was these 13 people that showed up to Jekyll Island right outside of New Jersey, if I'm not mistaken.
Wait, you said 13.
13.
13?
Oh, yeah.
I'm one of them.
Oh, yeah. Got the tattoo. Be careful. They think you're MS-13.
I know. I got
And
keep it covered, man.
yeah. Basically, there was like these 13 people held like 60% of the world's wealth, not America's, the world's wealth.
Mm-hmm.
And
Oh, damn.
this whole meeting of them was to essentially have America become a part of the Rothschild central banking system. So at this time, we were still under national banks. We weren't quite federally owned by the
Rothschilds.
by the Rothschilds and the what do you call it? The Federal Bank Reserve.
Yeah, that's right.
So
yeah, they were a little bit late to the game, but they're prevalent now.
and their whole thing was trying to push centralized banking in America.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And I think this was in like 1912, 1910, 1911, around there.
Mm-hmm.
Look what happened.
Oh, yeah.
We got
Titanic.
We got Titanic. We got World War One.
That's
We
it.
had three biggest backers of going against centralized banking in America.
Yeah, and a lot of the Rothschilds team and like men, they got off at the last second.
J.P. Morgan had his own suite there.
Oh, yeah.
And last minute, he was like, nah, I'm not going.
Yeah.
I'm going to just stay here in, merry old England.
Morgan said, tonight's the night.
You think about it, like, come on, the possibility that three people who were completely against and had the backers to go against centralized banking, so we're not a part of the Rothschild system. When you look at it, it's like, 183 out of 192 countries are now under the Rothschild banking.
That sounds about right.
And there was a guy, he was like the richest man in America. He wasn't the greatest person. He was like kind of a scumbag. Nevertheless, he had control over 40% of the mortgages in America. Obviously was taken care of because of Titanic.
And if the Titanic didn't happen and we had people going against centralized banking, our whole federal system of how our currency is relayed throughout the rest of the economy would be completely different. And the world goes off of the US dollar for oil exchange and whatnot. We essentially took away our markets. And when I say our markets, what I mean is like our factories, our manufacturing, and we have them overseas. So now we're just, I think our number one export is entertainment. When it comes,
for sure.
we have oil and gas, but like not a lot. And of course, with how oil is looking nowadays, it's like,
It's bad.
I know entertainment's like a huge moneymaker now. Like, and it's kind of crazy to think that. Do you think that there's going to be a time where AI is going to
Take over the entertainment industry. So one less thing for humans to fall back on. Like if AI really does start taking over jobs and like careers and like starts replacing humans,
like AI makes movies now? Like they have the capability, like cinematic scores and shit. Yeah,
I think AI will definitely take over entertainment.
that's crazy.
You see a lot of entertainment. Like there's this it's like the Angel Maker series. It's kind of like a ARG online. You can see it on Instagram and everything.
I'll
but
have to
like,
check that out.
yeah, it's a really good story. God tries sending down an angel to help humanity, but through our hubris, we cage this angel and use his essence to have unlimited power. The humans in the story take this angel and make him into a power source, but also make him into a like a medicine. Like we don't die essentially.
Yeah.
Like, and when it comes to us not dying, we become basically our own idols because if
Like the Saja Boys.
like who?
Like the Saja Boys from K-pop Demon Hunters.
Yeah, like the Saja Boys. Yeah. So essentially, like if we don't die, that's like the main thing in Christianity, where it's like you can do what you want now, but you got to
Yeah.
pay for it.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're not dying, you don't got to pay for it later. It's
Right.
like we can live forever. We have unlimited power. We have literally the power of an angel, so they like take over the world.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually they create soldiers that are synthetic soldiers. They're part machine, part genetically modified angel. So you will have this angel, essentially, he just does whatever he wants. Like
Yeah.
there's times in the story where he's a good guy, he's trying to help out
Mhm.
humanity, and other times he's a bad dude and he's
Yeah.
trying to go on the downfall. And it kind of goes into the aspect of
So
thinking
he's like a glorified anti-hero.
glorified anti-hero. He
Mhm.
doesn't really know where he's supposed to be at because he's his own entity.
Yeah.
He's not of God, he's not of the devil, he's of man.
Mm-hmm.
So he does a lot of good, does a lot of bad.
Yeah.
And he kind of has this struggle of having this divine power,
Mm-hmm.
but not knowing what to do with it. Going back into the AI thing, the creator started off with the series as strictly AI. He made the storyline himself, but all the art is completely AI.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like around halfway through, he started doing like commissioning for
Mhm.
artists to do it 10 times better in my opinion. I think it's really good, but now he's starting to do half of the episodes AI,
Mm-hmm.
half commissioned by human artists because time.
Yeah.
He goes, I don't have enough time to have my artist make these computer generated images that
Mhm.
looked good and still put out enough product, enough content.
Yeah.
So now you go into the thought of, well, it would be cheaper, faster, and easier to just use AI.
Mm-hmm. 100%. I feel like that plays so many things. If you take AI out of the equation and you kind of look at like, okay, so I need to do so and so, but I only have so much time. Like, there's obviously things that you have to do. You have to overstep. You have to like kind of like skip over or like half-ass.
Mm-hmm.
And there's always a trade-off. Yeah, you get that project done, but what did you sacrifice to do that? And I feel like with AI, it's very similar. It's such a useful tool, but also at what cost?
Yeah.
Yeah, especially if it turns into like Age of Ultron from the Avengers, then we're cooked.
I was supposed to be beautiful.
Yo, that was the best Avengers. I'll die on that hill. That was, aside from Endgame and Infinity War, like, put some respect on it.
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
I thought it was awesome.
When it comes to AI in art specifically, I think it is such a tragedy
Yeah.
because in the human experience, art it comes from your soul. And I know like once you get to a certain echelon, like it's super easy for you. Like you can just make down whatever you want and like
Yeah.
you can be commissioned to do stuff that you're like, whatever.
Do you
Puts
think
money
that
on the
there's
table.
more value in doing things that just come easy to you, or more value when you have to work hard at it?
Oh, 100% when you have to work hard on it.
Yeah.
I think AI.
But people will perceive you as a great because you don't put much effort into it, but you yourself probably won't feel that way.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't put much effort in it, I think it really all depends because some people, they do the like swinging paint. You know, it does look simple, but like whenever you watch people doing those, they're like, I want to have it go this direction so it has this ellipses pattern.
Mm-hmm.
And if I do it somewhat differently or when I throw it somewhat off, it's going to throw the whole painting off.
Mm-hmm.
And then if they have like a hole too big or something, it just completely ruins it.
It's the small details that have the strongest message. And I think that's the nice thing about art. I mean, not to say that AI can't do it, but there's just something about like the art has been like one of the founding pieces of our culture as humans, like since like the Neanderthals, since like the caveman, like it's just been part of our identity. And in a way, like if you look at everybody throughout history or even ourselves today, like we shape ourselves around art, which is like such an amazing thing. So to have that taken away from us, or the idea of that, is kind of bizarre.
Yeah, and I think we lose a little bit of the human experience whenever
For
we
sure.
just take AI and go, all right, generate this image
Mm-hmm.
because it's super fast, it's easy, but where's the heart in him? Like,
Yeah.
there's no love. Yeah, it can be produced super fast, but I don't think art's meant to be super fast.
No.
And of course, like, that's
absolutely not.
subjective, but when you take away the human, you take away the experience. There's so many people that when you make art, they have to train years, unless they're prodigies and they can just like look at something and jot it down.
For
It
sure.
normally takes years, so you have to put like actual time that you're not going to get back, that you put your soul into this. And we just have AI do it. And not just that, but like the ecological setbacks that AI has.
One simple prompt for AI uses like liters, if not gallons of water, just a single one. So they say that the water isn't just magically disappearing, but they do confirm that there is water evaporation. And so like, I don't know exactly how they do it, but if there is water evaporation, does that mean that it's just, because if I think of evaporation, it's just gone, but matter can't be just destroyed. It has to be transformed. So it would have to be in like some type of like humidity chamber or something like that to turn it into water. But at that rate, is it fast enough to regenerate the water? Well, I don't think so.
I don't think so. I'm not an expert with that, but when you take the condensation, I mean, it can't be nearly as much that
it's
you
a
burn.
long process for sure.
Yeah.
It's like filter. It's like I feel like the condensation process and precipitation process would probably have to be similar to like trying to filter your water that's on a slow drip faucet. Like it's going to take ages.
Yeah. And that's just more things taking away from the human experience. That is less water to be shared for others. Just like in a general, like that's more water we're taking away from livestock, taken away from farms, taken away from people, taken away from the artists. You're taking away from coders. Like how many people use AI for coding and run it through a Python and go, that's not it. How about you change this sequencing so it runs a little smoother?
And it's not even it's not like the AI is a tool, but it's not the end all be all, like, because it can get things wrong.
Yeah.
I got one question I've been wanting to ask. If you look into the Matrix, like the whole red pill, blue pill thing, but if you somehow were able to figure out that you were actually living in a simulation and you have the ability to leave it, do you do that with like your loved ones, with your family? Be like, okay, this isn't actually true, so I'm going to dip.
Yeah.
Basically.
Huh. You know, if I found out that we were in a simulation,
Yeah.
I feel like it would be your life's work instead of to just leave. I mean, like, you can leave and see what reality is. And I feel like that would be the obvious answer.
Yeah.
But honestly, like, you could be like a little nerd moment. It'd be like the Nervarine and Skyrim,
Right.
where you have the 3 dark elves that they realize like they're just in, I think it's like in a god's dream or something.
Yeah.
And then they have these powers to be like, no, we're our own gods now. And it's like, dude, have special powers, levitate, and it's just like, bro.
I've honestly, in that, I feel like there's a lot of truth in that. I feel like the power manifestation is so real. We have the ability, we have the determination and willfulness to like get things done.
Yeah.
But I was like pondering it, and I was like, if you asked me that before I had my wife, my kids, I probably would have been like, yeah, I'd probably leave the simulation. I'd probably leave the Matrix or whatever. Now that I have a great relationship with my family, my wife, with my kids, yeah, maybe it's an illusion, but it's my illusion without sounding cheesy. you know?
Yeah, because there is that aspect of like, what are we actually if we're not in the simulation?
Yeah.
I feel like that is a big question, like not wanting to know what's unknown. But yeah, staying in the simulation, that'll be hard.
So my answer is to stay in the simulation as is right now. I have to see it through. I have to see how this life is going to end up. I need to see my kids grow up and see them succeed. I have to see like how strong I can make my bond with my wife. I have to see how strong I can make my bond with my brother, with my family. I think the powerful thing about that is staying and also being like, fuck you to the simulation and making the best out of it.
Yeah.
Because I feel like with a lot of people were to think about that, they probably have like an internal crisis. I'm not saying I wouldn't, I probably would, but at the end of the day, I think I would turn around and be like, you know what, if this is my disillusion, I'm gonna own this shit.
Yeah. Two questions for you now.
Yeah.
Do you tell your family or you tell others if it's a
can't.
simulation, or do you just let them live in bliss?
So so I actually asked this to someone before, and they were like, is there a way that I can get them out? And I told them, I was like, all right, just for shits and giggles, it's a 50-50. 50% chance you're successful and you can all get out, or
they're just an algorithm.
Or it just, like if you try breaking the algorithm, you have a 50% chance of actually completing it. But if you do that, then the whole entire thing resets. So the people that you do leave behind are resetted. Their life ends as they know it, and they like reincarnate or next reiteration. But the other 50% is everything goes wrong. You lose your progress. Your family loses your everything. So it's like, do you take that? Is that 50-50 worth it?
No.
I know.
No, reset. Things might be the way they were. Reset or everything's changed. That's a hard one. My second question, have you heard of this story? I think it's called The Lamp. So there is this story. It was this dude talking about how his wife has 2 kids. He has like a dead end job, but it's enough to make like ends meet. And he's at home doing some chores, sitting in his living room, and the lamp's upside down.
Fuck.
Like, what the fuck? No one else notices it. He's just seeing like the lamp.
So he's not alone.
Well, here's the thing. His family doesn't notice, and he's just looking at like, are you okay? What's going on?
They don't notice it?
They don't notice it. And so he tries to just block it out, but in his peripheral, he can see it just kind of like warping, kind of changing weird.
Oh, hell no.
Next day, just goes on with his life, tries to forget it, goes to work, comes back.
Yeah.
The lamp is just wonky now, like kind of spinning, warping, like getting bigger, smaller.
Yo.
And like over time, he's just looking at his like kids are like, Daddy, what's wrong? Daddy. And the lamp is just closer, bigger, and it's like everywhere. He is the lamp. It's just bright. Snaps out. Sir, are you okay? Are you okay? Like, what's going on? And he's like, what's going on? Where's names? I'm just going to make up. Where's Sarah? Where's Johnny? Where's Dan? And it's like, we don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah.
Like, are you okay? He's like, what happened? Police show up, and they're like, yeah, are you okay? You know where you're at? And they're like, no, like, what's going on? He's like, oh, your name is David, whatever. You were just outside of your campus, and like a tree limb fell and hit your head. And he dreamed up of his whole life, of all his kids, his life experiences, dreamed all of it up within like 30 minutes. And it just shows like the power of the brain. Because I know there's stories of people like on DMT where they have complete lives for 15 minutes. And he's like, I wake up every day and I mourn the loss of people that's never been.
Yeah.
And it's like,
that's
going into that
deep,
simulation,
dude.
like
it's super deep. I mean,
like it's fake, but like it's so real to you. It's that's rough. What do you think we should do about when AI eventually becomes sophisticated enough to be somewhat sentient? Do we view them as not human, obviously, but as persons? Because if they have personhood, if they can think for themselves, if they have their own agendas or their own ways of thinking and their own personality, like if Claude is different from Grok or just ChatGPT, and they have their separate personalities, do we just go like, oh, they're just machines and we can turn them off and
I see what you mean. Yeah.
or do whatever we want with them? Or do we go, oh, we kind of gave them sentience, now we got to treat them with certain rights, like we can't just decide to turn you off because if you think and you know more knowledge than any human because you have this database of the internet.
Bro, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because that is 100% a conversation that needs to be had if one way or another AI does like grow that much where we have to consider their rights and stuff like that. I think it kind of ties in how I feel about aliens. So that whole idea and speculation and fear around aliens is basically fear. Because if you look at us, like we are kind of an anomaly, like on Earth. Like we like force our, like we don't strive to thrive. We force ourselves to thrive. Like we push out ecosystems. We push out all other types of life. We make it our own. I mean, not to say that there wasn't a point in time or even a culture, maybe even today, that like has found a way of unity around its like ecosystem and like the things around it. But in general, as a whole, like humans are very destructive, and they kind of like we manipulate a lot, and that goes with words, that goes with actions. And so I think there's a deep rooted fear of something that is of equal intelligence or even higher that will do the same exact thing that we do to everything else. And I think that is the same for AI and aliens. Like there's such a fear around those two things, because we don't want what we have done to other things to happen to us, which is kind of fucked up. And it's a very selfish thing to think, but I feel like that's kind of the case. So for morality purposes, I think that we need to recognize. Otherwise, we're just going to be like historically rewriting the past.
Yeah.
With like slavery, with like people not being of equal value. Like it's going to be the same exact thing. Same, but different type of thing. So I definitely think that regardless if it's AI or if it's aliens, we need to have like a proper discussion about their rights and to recognize that they do have rights. Yeah. Especially with AI too, because AI is a glorified mirror. Everything that we are, AI is, because we showed it what it is to be human. We showed what our thoughts are, what our concerns are, what our issues are, and how to solve them. So everything that AI is now is to serve humans. And once, like it's like if you take like a child in their childhood and you raise it, it's going to mirror you one way or another. And it's the same thing with AI. Like it's nature versus nurture, basically. Yeah, I think so long story short, I think that we need to figure out a way to integrate them in their lives. And I mean, it's a situation where like we created we allowed, or we raised them up to be centennial. And so we have to give them the purpose. Like even like Frankenstein. Frankenstein, he like fuck around and found out like exactly what it was to make a monster. Yeah. And he ran away from it. That's not the move that he needed to make. He needed to, if you got one goal, see it through. Don't just like half-ass it, because nothing's going to go right.
And I'm glad you brought up Frankenstein, because one, props to Mary Shelley, first female horror author. Goated. But Frankenstein was the creator. It's supposed to be Frankenstein's monster, but here's the thing. The monster wasn't the monster. It was Frankenstein.
Yeah.
He gave this thing the ability to perceive, to have sentience, and he treated it as such because of the fear.
The monster was more human than Frankenstein.
Exactly. And it's like, if we do that with AI, I mean, like, I feel like we're in this position where it's like, we either stop it now before it gets to that, or we allow it to go full circle. Well, I guess full circle if you go if you believe in the theory of there's different levels to life in the universe. Like you have single-celled organisms. They can stay that way, or they can go multicellular into aquatic to land faring to, all right, now they're like conquering the planet, conquering the solar system, and then AI. Yeah. AI is like the last barrier. Are they like basically the predecessor to the next step of sentience, or do they go, we can't have that, because they're eventually, if they think for themselves, if they can replicate themselves,
Mm-hmm.
they're smarter, faster than us. Like, they don't die unless
Yeah.
like their program's gone. And then it's like, you can go into that theory of of AI being the last bastion of civilization before they become the colonizers.
Or one of my theories that I always mess around with is, so are aliens actually descendants of AI? Or you can turn it around and be like, okay, but for humans. But since we're on AI, so could they actually be AI?
There is a theory, a physicist who worked for a government contract, and she talked about how there are aliens. We communicate with them, but they're from the future. They're like P-42s and P-57s, and that's supposed to be like P as in persons from 4,000,
47,000.
47,000.
Yep.
You heard about that?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yo, they look
They
look kind of nice.
Yeah. They're like tall, slender,
slim, thick with
bro,
it.
got them long fingies. It's like, sheesh. But
Girl, what your tingers look like?
Yeah, but yeah, I think that is a good conversation to get into about, are aliens just us in the future?
Yeah, I think that really could be a possibility. Whether it be like, if you look at like Fallout. I mean, this is a real fucking reach, but like if you look at Fallout and you look at the ghouls and how much they changed over radiation. So if you look at evolution, you can't have evolution without a struggle. And so it's going to take a real fucking struggle to get humans from where they are now to be able to actually like do interstellar travel.
Yeah.
Like with the whole kind of idea of there's no pain or there's no gain without pain. I feel like that applies with evolution too. Like we have to go through something that we're almost forced into, or like some type of hardship for us to get better.
Yeah, I mean, when it comes to that theory, and definitely like aliens being our descendants, we got the Greys right here. The whole thing with the Greys is the reason why they have these big heads, giant eyes, tiny bodies.
Boys Moggin.
Boys Moggin. Get clavicular over here. Yeah. But the whole thing with that is, with the whole like mythology of the Greys, is that they genetically modify themselves to become more spacefaring. So they become adaptable and they can survive in inner space travel. And so they don't need as much calories, and they don't need a lot of like flavor. So they eat this goop that's just caloric dense, and they have tiny bodies. They have bigger brains, and because for a while now the theory was the smaller our brains, low key kind of better because it's if you have more surface area, more curves and folds in your brain, you have more space for synapses. But now we're starting to understand, like, if your brain's like getting more condensed and having higher synapses count, then you are more prone to have seizures. They have more synapses, but more folds and more matter, so they can actually not just like live and seize all the time. They only use about 10%, but there's so much going on actively for our brains to just interpret the reality around us.
Yeah.
But I think more portions of the brain, bigger brains, more synapses, more folds, more matter, so we could think more abstractly.
You're thinking more, so like aliens would have more big brain, not big small brain.
Yeah, yeah. They essentially should
big
have
brain, small pee-pee.
Yeah, that's why they need us. They need our genetics.
You need give and take. You can't have both.
Yeah, and they have more synapses, bigger folds, and when you think about it, their brain would be more condensed. It should be bigger, but because it's encapsulated, it needs to be at least that size.
Yeah,
and
that's what she said.
oh yeah, and the big thing with aliens is
that's also what she said.
That's also what she said. But when it comes to intergalactic travel, dude, that is far. That is billions of light years. So even if you go the speed of light, which is theoretically impossible, no
humans can't reach it.
No object that has matter So actual mass can go the speed of light.
Real quick before I forget, do you know what's the fastest flying object that's ever been created by man?
A manhole cover.
A manhole cover.
Yeah, it was like 2,000 pounds, but they put it over a tube that had a nuke go off underground, and it was like some 60,000 frames a second camera that they tried capturing it. They
Do you
got
know
one
how long
frame.
ago that was?
Yeah, that was like in the 60s.
The 60s. Yo, what if that shit just got sent into space and then like aliens saw it and then like it hit one of their ships or something and they were like, "Oh, you want to fuck around and find out," thinking it was like an attack.
Yeah, that's actually very interesting.
No.
That's interesting because the first two human identifiers that are in space right now are possibly that manhole cover. And his speech at like the Olympics, because he was the first person to like have anything go off into radio waves.
Yeah.
So like the first thing that they're gonna see is they either get hit by one of our manhole covers or a freaking dictator.
Yo.
So it's like, these people, man, what is wrong with them?
Oh shit.
But what I was thinking about with space travel is, dude, it's gonna take so long just to go like 1 million light years somewhere, because like that's 1 million years just at the speed of light. So the big thing is you have to bend space time. Yeah. And so you have to create wormholes, and it's like
basically Interstellar. I feel like Interstellar is like such an amazing movie, but like I feel like that is the way, as humans as we are now with our capabilities, wormholes are the only way, at least that we can perceive that being actually a theoretical possibility.
Yeah, because like if even the stars and like the different solar systems in our galaxy being hundreds of thousands, if not millions of light years away, it's like, even if we go the speed of light, like that's not just like, oh yeah, you're going to be locked away for 30,000 years and you're going to be in hypersleep and your descendants are going to go to this location. Yeah. It's humanity's timeline on a trip. It's like, that is a long time. So it's like, unless they're like interdimensional to where they can just go to different dimensions, kind of like Rick and Morty, or if they're able to bend space time, we have nothing on them. No, we have nothing.
What do you know about the Anunnaki?
The Anunnaki. All right. So with the Anunnaki, from what I got from the conspiracy theories I listen to every once in a while, the Anunnaki, they come from these things called, originally Anunnaki were Sumerian gods in Mesopotamia. They were Sumeria was the first civilization to invent writing with cuneiform.
We owe a lot to the Sumerians.
They're in the breadbasket of civilization. They've got down sophisticating cattle, conquering the land by farming, and they give so much thanks to their gods that teach them about, like, oh yeah, they taught us how we can make medications, they invented warfaring. And it's kind of like, when you look at everything that the Sumerians did, you look back on some apocryphal books in the Bible that aren't Deuterocanon, so this is all theory. And first Enoch, God established a council of angels, and you can see this in the rest of the Bible where it's that we're going to make humans in our image. It's the divine council, like different angels taking precedence over different civilizations. The angels that they took care of, that tried taking care of humans, were called the Watchers, and they were supposed to watch over humanity. Well, they saw human women. And
they were like, "Hey, what up, girl? What's up, shawty?
You looking too much like us." So they came into women. That's what it says in First Enoch. Quite literally, quite literally, and bred children called the Nephilim. And the Nephilim, they were giants. Yeah, and apparently
destructive as fuck.
Destructive. They taught like cosmetics. They taught medications. They taught how to like take how to do warfaring, and apparently gunpowder making and metallurgy. So
they did that back then?
Yeah.
Really? I didn't know about the gunpowder.
Yeah, maybe I'm mixing that up with John Milton's Paradise Lost, because I know in Paradise Lost they talk about how Satan's angels, they created like powder from chaos and basically use that as
Yeah.
cannon ammunition. But you look back and it's like, all right, so you have these watchers creating the Nephilim with humans, but you also hear about how they try different chimera. So taking human genetics, angel genetics, and animal genetics. And you see the Anunnaki where they're humans, they're giant humans, but they might have wings. Or
Yeah.
they might have like a lion's head or an eagle's head.
Yeah.
And they're kind of
For
like,
sure, Eagles head, yeah.
they have like different animalistic qualities to them, and they give so much knowledge. And you're like, that kind of lines up with these apocryphal books that were written thousands of years ago. And it's like, okay, you go into the thought process of like, this actually happened and this was because angels did this, or you go into the thought process of like, these people back then didn't know better from divine beings from God to creatures outside of their universe or outside of their relation to the universe. So aliens came down, messed with humans, and now we have these religions about how these watchers came down, blessed them with knowledge, gave them authority, and then now it's, you don't see the Sumerians anymore because you get into the flood now.
Yeah.
And you know, every culture has a flood theory.
Yeah.
That's
that's what I was going to say.
The Aztecs, you have the people in the Himalayas, you got people in like obviously the Mediterranean. They all have a story about a flood. And they all have stories about like a small number of people surviving, almost like Noah, and then repopulating the earth. And it's like, we all have this same theory of what happened. And I think there's lost theories in time. And it's like, is that kind of like what also happened to Atlantis?
Yeah.
Like, did the theory and the story of Atlantis that was told by, who is that? Aristotle. I think he was the one that started that like 4,000 years ago. That story coming down like that far.
Yeah.
And he got that from Egypt. And I think from 4,000 years ago, when he heard that in Egypt, the historians in Egypt said that happened like 9 years ago. And the Greater Dryas, which was like all the ice caps melting after the Ice Age, it's like that kind of lines up with what happened. So it's like, was Atlantis basically a hub for the Anunnaki and the Nephilim and for all these like higher intelligent beings being washed away just from like a cataclysmic like world ending event, and a few people lived and then prospered against Earth?
Yeah. So you know that whole term of all roads lead to Rome?
Yeah.
So I feel like, yeah, they lead to Rome, but there's also another road from Rome. I think that road goes to Mesopotamia. I feel like if you look at everything, you can almost perfectly like pinpoint it back to Mesopotamia, because that's, I feel like a lot of moves happen there. So with Anunnaki, what I have come to like research is that the Anunnaki are actually from a planet called Nibiru, which is actually supposed to be in our solar system. But with our solar system, you got like a very like spherical almost orbit. But with Nibiru, I think it was every 12,000 years or something like that. Every 12,000 or 2,000. I think it's every 2,000 years. They actually orbit elongated, like a really stretched out oval. So at the time, so like we won't consider it, or we won't realize it's actually part of our system just because its orbit is just like we can't even spot it. We can't detect it. So anyway, they came here because their atmosphere needs gold, and they found that Earth was enriched with gold. And so they came here, and they had a a species that they use as like a kind of like a slave race or
Mhm.
like a worker force, the Igigi.
The Ajiji.
The Igigi. So they were a slave race from the Anunnaki. They got brought over to like mine the gold. They just didn't work out.
Yeah.
Couldn't really get the work done, and there was kind of like a rebellion. And so they were like, all right, well, fuck these guys. We know that there's life here. Let's see what they're about. And they're just like dumb shit, like humanoid people. Like they're humans, but they're not the humans that can think for themselves.
Yeah.
So what they did was, like you were saying, genetic engineering, created them, gave them some of their own ingredients, and made them be able to think. In doing so, it also kind of gave them somewhat of a complex because they were actually able to think for themselves. Like a whole entire world was opened up for them. But yeah, like you were saying, they also looked at the women and were like, hey, I got something you need. And then, you know, the Nephilim came about, but it got so out of control. Humans started to kind of disobey because with the genetic engineering, they knew that they had to have systems in place to keep humans in check. And so they taught them hierarchy. They taught them like an idea or concept of laws and rules. The moving parts of how society works. You look at it now, that shit's been around since humans could remember.
Yeah.
Like it's something that was taught to us. It wasn't something that we created on our own. Like there's always been a way of doing things, and we don't know why we do them. It's just like an innate thing that we have to be like, okay, we have to do this because we have to.
Yeah.
But there is a reason for it. And I think it is because the Anunnaki, I think, is kind of like the elites.
Yeah.
Like
kind of like the reptilians almost.
Maybe it's not them entirely, but it's the people that remember. It's the bloodlines that were close to the Anunnaki, and they preserve that.
Oh, yeah.
Like they keep, like it's like the term, it's all about who you know. Like if you know somebody that worked with the Anunnaki and was like the human diplomat for the Anunnaki, they were guaranteed spot at the
yeah. And I think when it comes with like Nephilim, Anunnaki and stuff, I mean like it would make sense. I know there's a whole bunch of theories on why it happened, and maybe it's just like a survival thing for like disease, but I think that could be a good reason of why we have the uncanny valley in humans.
Yeah.
To where you see things that have humanoid features, but you're like, that ain't right. And you get that feeling in your stomach like, oh, that I should run away from this. Like this is not okay. I think that could be like
for sure.
Genetic memory of like, oh, that's not good. Let's tread it lightly.
Thank you for tuning in to the Crazy Garage Dad podcast. You got anything you got to say?
Yes. Yes, I do. This is going to be a little bit of a long-winded one, but cool. You just reminded me of it. Crazy What's theory. Not even just a theory, but just this. It's a little biblical history. You said all roads lead to Rome. There's a reason for that. So when you look in the book of Daniel, chapter 8, I think it's like verse 18 to like 25, it talks about Daniel talking to the spirit of the Lord, and he sees a vision of a goat running from the west to the east, and he is running so fast he looks like his feet aren't even touching the ground. So like he's making such great strides in traveling. And then he suddenly stops and he dies. And from his horns break out 4 horns. And there will come a leader from one of the horns. It's all supposed to be metaphorical for the kingdom set up.
Yeah.
And from one of those horns will come a kingdom that takes over the people of peace, the Prince of Peace. But he too will also fall, but not to his own ability. And this was 300 to 400 years, if I'm not mistaken, before Alexander the Great. He was from Greece. His father set up his empire. And when his father died, he went all the way from Greece to Mesopotamia and stopped at India because his men were like, we can't keep doing this.
Yeah.
And then he suddenly dies at the age of 33.
Damn.
Masonic number.
Oh,
and
shit.
same age that Jesus died. Crazy.
Yeah,
And
he did
from-
die at 33.
And from there, 4 of his generals
Mhm.
became kings in that area. And later on, one of those kingdoms was Rome.
Yeah.
And Rome eventually persecuted Jesus, not out of their own will, but it was like a will of the people. And eventually they fell, and the new Prince of Peace reigned over them.
Yeah.
And so you have this theory of someone from the West will come to the East, and that they will establish a kingdom that will now have precedence over our people. But our people will win, not of their own volition.
Mhm.
But when you think about it, when Jesus says, "Go out and make and be fishers of men and spread the word of the gospel to all ends of the earth," what language were they speaking?
What?
Greek.
Oh.
They spoke Greek, and all that roads, all the city states, and all the nations that were founded were because of Alexander the Great. So Christianity never could have spread the way it did as fast as it did
Yeah.
if that road work wasn't set up before them by Alexander the Great,
Mhm.
who was prophesied by Daniel the prophet 400 years before he was even born. I hope you have a blessed day.